Well, we'll start in another 3-4 minutes. Let's wait for some people to join in. Then we'll start off. All right, guys. So let's start today's lecture. I hope I'm audible, loud and clear. All right, let me just share my screen. I hope it is visible to everyone. All right. So we'll start with functional as today. As discussed, let's take plus minus. Given an array of integers, Calculate the ratio of elements that are positive, negative, and zero. Print the decimal value of each fraction on a new line. Okay. So what this question asks is you will be given a number of integers, and from that you need to give the ratio in a format like how many of them are positive, how many of them are negative, and how many of them are zero. That is basically what you need to calculate. And after that, the values that you need to print should be divided by n so that you get a ratio. Basically, what you need to do is you need to get the count of integers that are positive, negative, and zero. So let's just do that because that is pretty straightforward. So let's first take the scanner input. Okay, now we have the scanner. So let's take the integer n equals sc dot next int. Okay. Now, many of you will say, why not define array? Because in this, we don't really need the array actually. We just need the integer once. Once we get to know whether it is positive, negative, or zero, the integer becomes useless to us. So what we can do is we'll just store it in a temporary variable and take it. So let's first define the values double positive. Why double? Because we need to print the values in points. So that's why double. And double zero equals 0.0. Now we have all the things. So let's just iterate because the question asks you to use double in Java. Okay. So let's create a temporary variable and we'll take the input because the first line of the input provides the number of integers. Now we have to take that many integers as inputs. We run a for loop and take it inside the temporary variable each time. Now we check if temp is less than 0, then negative equals negative plus 1. Else if temp is greater than 0, positive equals positive plus 1. Else that means it is 0. So 0 equals 0 plus 1. Okay, now just need to print them out because ratio is simply that number of elements divided by total number of elements. So we just need to do a print ln negative divide by n. Now just copy paste the statements thrice. Okay, so in what order we need to print? First, we need to print positive, then negative, then zero. So we need to print it in a specific order. Otherwise, the output won't match. Zero. And now let's run this code. Run code 0.5, 0.5, 0.0. That is correct. Let's submit this once. And yeah, it is passed. Any doubts in this problem now, guys? Pretty straightforward question. You just need to take n integers and that's it. Then you just need to check by if else whether it is a positive, negative, or zero. Depending on that, just take the next input. Line length is just a for loop that we have learned yesterday. Apart from this, any other doubts in this problem? Why double? Because question mentions us to use double in Java. If question is mentioning a specific data type, then use that. If it is not, then you can use up to use. Why? Because we have found a negative number that is less than 0. So we can just, add -1. Line 13 is basically taking an integer input. We need to take n integers. So we'll have to take and declare int temp each time. That's it. What's the doubt in line 16, guys? Come on. Like, it's a simple thing. Like, you found a negative integer. So you're increasing the value of negative integer by 1. And you have declared double because we want to print the pointed values at the end. So if you are declaring them by integers according to Java syntax, it doesn't print any pointed values. Because we need to take n integers. The number of integers given at the start and it is variable. So we need to take a for loop. Guys, if you have not gone through the previous classes, please go to previous lectures. It's high time now. We are almost going towards the end of the pre-course. So your coding test will start. Yeah, we are initializing temp every time because every time we'll get a new integer from the user. Because user is providing us n integers. What about the output, guys? At least be interpreted about the question. Please tell me about the output. What is it about the output? Everyone knows ratios. Temp is just a variable to take an input. You can define it as anything. You just need to modify it. Let me say it as a. That's an integer. Yeah, correct, Pinky. That's correct. How will you take n integers then if you use it before for loop? That means you are taking n inputs. If you have used this line inside for loop, that means you are taking n inputs. How do you take input in array? You are just overriding the same place, same memory location. That's it. There's nothing else in this question. What do you want me to repeat? Please at least be interpretive about it. Amit, repeating the same thing won't be helpful. I won't be able to read your message at all. Line number m is a basic for loop, guys. What is the doubt? What is the doubt in this for loop? We need to take n integers. We need to go from 0 till n. So we are running a for loop. We have done this yesterday in the loops. So how come doubt is there in this line? See, guys, if you are coming without seeing the previous lectures, it won't be helpful at all. I won't be teaching every basic thing again and again in each lecture. It is not possible. Because we are not reusing the integer. We don't want the integer to be used again. If you want, you can declare the array and you can use it. That will just add another loop to it. What is the doubt in this damn thing, yaar? I'm not able to get negative because negative plus 1. That means we are reassigning the negative a new value and we are using the previous negative value before updating it. Simple as that. No, because the inputs are integer, guys. Inputs are not double. You need to print out double values. You don't need to print out the input is not provided in double. So you cannot take that. By Danish, please guys don't ask really questions that are not meaningful at all. Why negative equals negative plus 1? Because if we found a negative integers, we need to add negative by 1. If you are going to stick into such basic questions, now I won't be able to cover those large questions that you want me to cover. No, you cannot print output print after else if, right? How will you print before counting the entire positive negative integers? Why plus 1? Because we have found one positive integer, so we'll add one only, na? You cannot use the constant because size is not constant, guys. Come on, if it is given that the size of the array is variable, then you need to use a variable there. You have to declare it as int n. Nishant, your question will be answered by team. Ask it on Discord. I have not the correct person to answer this question. Krishna, you cannot do it on line 13 if you. How can you use the same variable that I've declared outside and inside? Think a little bit logically, guys. Come on, now we have developed basic understanding of coding language now. Our output, because we are dividing it by n, and in case of float values, it will display point values. Yeah, exactly, Prasad. All right, I'm closing this question now, guys. There's nothing much in this problem. Like yesterday also I didn't cover, but I realized like it was just a basic for loop problem. There was no use of array in this. Okay. Rajesh, I have a lot of patience. I don't want to screw people up. Okay. I have a lot of patience, but if people are going to come randomly in a random class and without looking in the previous class, I won't be able to help them out. It is not humanly possible for me to explain each and everything, like from starting from input to everything. Every class is going to build up from the previous class. So you should have the understanding of till previous class, then only we can build on the next class. Otherwise, what we'll do is we'll keep on rotating on the revision part only. We won't be able to move ahead. This way, we cannot move ahead with the course. We need to finish the pre-course in the 10 days so that you guys also don't miss out on main batch for long. That is the reason we have a little pace and we are giving you enough time for you to learn. It is not like we are keeping 3 lectures in a day, right? So you need to have some understanding of like what have we taught till now and what have we going to be taught in the next class. Yeah, Vishal, that will be like recognized as the same, but if you're using double, the 0.0 will always come in. That is for sure. Okay, well, let's move on to this problem. Contestants who earn a score equal to greater than a score of the kth place finisher will advance to the next round, as long as the contestant earns a positive score. Okay, a total of n participants took part in the contest, and you already know their scores. Calculate how participants will advance to the next. How many participants will advance to the next round? Okay, so you are given n scores basically. Forget about participants. You are given an n scores. Now, what this question ideally means is, in this number of n scores, you need to count the number of scores that are greater than equal to a particular score that will be given to you. Okay, so you need to count the number of scores that are greater than equal to a particular score and are also greater than 0. Okay, there might be a case there might be a case like where the score that you are asked to compare with is no less than 0. In that case, you need to consider the scores that are only greater than equal to 0. Okay, let's break this question into two parts for simpler understanding. You are given n scores. First task is to count the number of scores that are greater than a person's score. Okay, like you will be given a certain score that you need to compare with, and all the scores that are greater than or equal to that score, you need to count the number of that. Okay, question is clear now? All right, so let's move on to the coding part now. Okay, so this was the essence of the question. What this question actually asks is, you are given an array of scores and there's a kth place of score that is what you have to compare with. You're not given the score directly, instead you are given a position. That's it. Okay, so now we'll define another variable that is called k, because we will also have an input k. So we'll take sc.next int. Okay, Now we have that. So let's take the input first. Okay, so now we have the input. So let's take the parse score. Like par score idea essentially means the score that you need to compare with, whether or the score that you need to use to count the number of scores that are greater than or equal to that score. So in this, what they've given is kth position, but the indexing is 1. So this is a very important thing to learn. So your array indexes basically start from 0, 1, 2 till n minus 1. Okay, but the places that are getting finished is 1, 2, 3 till n. So there's a place difference of 1. That means the array index 0 has finished first. The array index 1 has finished second. The array index n minus 1 has finished nth. That basically means, so if the person has finished the kth minus 1, to get the score, we'll have to use ARR k minus 1. I'll repeat once again. The array indexing is essentially from 0 till n minus 1, as we know. Okay. And the position indexing is from 1 till n. So there's a difference, parity now, because the score at array index 0 has finished first. The score at array index 1 has finished second. And the score at array index n minus 1 has finished nth. So basically, the score at kth position, the score at kth position is at array index k minus 1. That's what we have done here. Okay. Now the question is done. We just need to compare int count equals 0, because initially the count is 0. We don't know how many are there, so we assume that the count will be 0 initially, obviously. And now let's iterate. If ARRI is greater than equal to parse score, you could have used ARR k minus 1 directly here. That would not be a wrong statement, but yeah. And there's another if statement here, as long as the contestant earns a positive score. That means the contestant should have greater than parse score, and it should be a positive one. So that's it. And count. That's the goal. Any doubts in this one now? Let's first run this and see if it is correct. 6 is the output. See, for that, we have to put this condition of greater than 0. Because in this case, what will happen is, if we are not putting this condition of ARI greater than 0, then in this case, our output will be 4. Okay. All right, I'll explain with this example. This is basically n and this is basically k. So we need to compare scores with the person who has scored 5th. Okay, so what person has scored 5th? Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. This is the score that we need to take, and this element is at what index? So we start from 0. That is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 4th index. That is what k minus 1. So we used a parse score equals k minus 1. Okay, now we start iterating the for loop. For int I equals 0, I is in I plus plus. Okay, that's good. So we check the first element. Yes, it is greater than parse score. Correct. Yeah, it is greater than 0. Yes, 10 is greater than 0. Count is now 1. Okay. Now element 9 comes in. Again greater than equal to parse score. Again greater than 0. Count becomes 2. 8 greater than equal to parse score. Greater than 0. Count becomes 3. 7 greater than 7 is equal to 7 because the parse score is 7. So parse score and this are equal. That means our if condition still holds and 7 is greater than 0. So count still increases. Again 7, again increases. Again 7, again increases. Then comes the 5, so it does not increase. Okay, again 5, it does not increase. That's it. That's why count is printing out to be 6. All right. Any doubts in this problem now? Jyoti, what do you want me to explain now? Please be specific about line number. Explain twice the question now. So let's be like, what do you want me to repeat? This is how output came 6. So our par score was 7. So we compared each score with 7 in this if condition, like whether it is greater than or equal to 7 or not. So 10 was greater, 9 was greater, 8 was greater, 7 was equal, equal, equal. So all the 6 were holding this if condition true, and it is all these elements are obviously greater than 0. So that means it holds true. So that's why output came 6. Because if you don't use equal to, you won't get the correct output, because it has clearly stated who earns a score equal to or greater than the score. Equal to or greater than. If it has stated equal to, then we have to take equal to. It is less than, it is not greater than, it is less than or equal to. There's an equal to sign here. Read the question properly. Otherwise, what would you have told us? Just output K. How is par score 4? The index of the par score is 4. The value is ARR K minus 1. So that is ARR 4. That means 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This element. So this element is what we are referring to. K minus 1 is 4. ARR K minus 1 is not 4. Because what in the array indexes are from 0 till n minus 1, then the places finishes are from 1 till n. So basically, the score of a person who finished first is that array index 0. The score of person who finished at second in second is at array index 1. So that's why the person who finished at n has a score. The score is at array index n minus 1. That's why similarly for k, we can write k minus 1. It is a non-increasing, it is not descending. Descending means AI is greater than AI plus 1. It is a non-increasing one. I didn't got a question. That is basically the score you need to compare with, because it's like you need to compare, you need to pass all the participants that have finished, that have the score that is greater than or equal to kth place finisher. Yeah. So ARR 4 is what we are referring to. ARR 4 is what? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is ARR 4. Like you can give any input you like, that's up to you, but the test cases will have what is asked here. That is up to you. Like if someone is testing it some way, it is wrong, because the question has given a specific condition for a reason, so everyone is going to code according to that. Input test case, I don't have a restriction on it, but the test case, I'm pretty sure like this will be the way. That's it. For 4200, this condition doesn't hold now. We have put another condition called ARI greater than 0. Whatever the score be, it is going to be 0 only. So if it is 0, it is never going to be greater than 0. So this condition never holds true. No, you can't. Try giving count equals k in this case. Is it correct? So k was 5, but the output came out to be 6. How can you give? It is not sure. In this case, k is 2, but output is 0. 19 line is basically the array input. That is the array integers that we are giving. Yeah, then you can do that, Ravi. But yeah, that will also not be the case. How will you handle the zero case? That is the whole question now. That is there. Like you will have to add a lot of code then. Just to do that, like just to skip the initial k iterations, you have to do another 4-5 lines of code minimum. Yeah, it will pass all the test cases. I'm not denying that, but that's like an extra code for unnecessary reasons. When you can just do a simple loop by initializing count equal to 0, why do an extra code? You just needed to add a if condition extra here. N is the participants, K is the position of the score, K is the kth person's position that you need to compare the score with. Line is mean, guys, please refer this here. Come on now. The array indexing is from 0 till n minus 1, but the positions are from 1 till n. So there's a difference of 1 that we need to compensate to get the exact score. So if I ask you to get the first person score, so you will just write ARR1, but that will give you the second person score. This is the correct mapping now. You can see the mapping in front of you. This is the scores. This is for the positions, and this is for the scores. So how will you match them? You will have to subtract 1 because there's a difference of 1. All right. Okay, so I'm moving on to the next question now. Okay, so let's take pairs. Okay. So you are given an array of integers. You need to return the total number of pairs that have a difference equal to k. Okay. So what does pair mean? Sorry guys, just a second. Yeah. All right. Sorry. Okay. So what does a pair mean? So a pair ideally means you can pick any two integers and make them as a pair. Okay. So what does this ideally mean is like if there's an array of this 32, 0, 63, 8. So what are the total possibilities of pair that I have written here? Okay. So you can pair 32 with each and every element, that is 0, 63, 8, 32, 0, 32, 63, 32, 8. Coming to 0, you can pair 0 with 32, 63, and 8. Any number cannot be paired itself. So 0, 0, 32, 32, 63, 63, and 8, 8 are not pairs. That means if you are pairing the number itself, so if you are selecting the same number twice, it is not a valid pair. Valid pair means you need to select two different indexes. Ideally, what you're doing is you're picking two indexes and picking their value and making it as a pair. Clear till now? What the meaning of pair is? In simple language, if you are given an array of integers from 0 to n, you have to pick any two indexes and you have to take all such combinations. So that is known as pairs. Ideally, like what you can do, what you can think of is like if I take 32, so except 32, so any pool of integers, I can take any one and make it as a pair. So I cannot pair 32 with 32 or 0 with 0 or 63 with 63 or 8 with 8. Otherwise, I can pair anyone. So that's basically what 4p2. So I can pick four integers, permute them. So 4c2 is basically selecting any two integers. That is 4 factorial divided by 2 factorial. Okay. Now, but you can permute also 32 0 and 0 32 is a different pair in this case. Why? Because we are calculating the difference. So 32 minus 0 and 0 minus 32 will be different. So there will be 16 pairs. Sorry, 12 pairs. 4p2 is 12. My bad. Sorry. Not 31 pair, guys. Come on. 32 can be paired with 0, 63, 8. That is 3 pairs. Okay. Similarly, for each of them, there will be 3 pairs. Okay. So that's why 32, 0, 32, 63, 32, 8. Then 0, 32, 0, 63, 0, 8. Then 63, 32, 63, 0, 63, 8. Then 8, 32, 8, 0, 8, 63. Yeah, in this case, there will be. Why there are two different pairs? Because 32 minus 0 and 0 minus 32 are two different things. It is not the same. Understand this? Yeah. So if you do a 32 minus 0, that is positive 32. If you do 0 minus 32, that is minus 32. So these two are giving different outputs. So this will be considered a different pair. Like when you use that pair, if it is essentially giving the same value, that is 32, 0, 0, 32, then it cannot be counted. Simple. But you need to take both possibilities. So either you take it in one go, then you can avoid 0, 32. But if you're not taking it in one go, like you're not taking both the possibilities, then you have to take the other possibility as well. We'll code both the possibilities, okay? Both the ways. Yeah, you cannot take, no, not different values, different indexes. Learn the difference between values and indexes. If there was 2 here, supposingly say 2 and 2, then 2 comma 2 is a valid pair. But only 2 comma 2s. You will say that there can be 4 possibilities. I can take 0 0 indexes, 1 1 indexes, 0 1 indexes, 1 0 indexes. But 0 1 and 1 0 are the only things. Then also that's what I told you, right? Just now that's what I explained. I thought that was the confusion. Okay. So let's take the array input now. Int bracket a equals new int bracket n. So for int I equals 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Okay. Now simple a bracket I equals sc dot next int. Going by the first method, in this, what are we ideally ensuring? That I is never equal to j. That means I is the index of the first element and j is the index of the second element. That means we must ensure that when elements like these are there, so we should never select 32 comma 32. So for that, we can use I is not equal to j. Yeah, there are both methods. I'll show you. I'll first show the easier method and then I'll explain the other one. So that's like pretty straightforward. This one is. So we'll again run a loop from for int j equals 0, j less than n, j plus plus. First things first, if I is not equal to j and okay, we didn't input k. We forgot to input k. We need to take input of k also. Now we have k and a bracket I minus a bracket j equals k. So if you take j equals I plus 1, so you'll have to add another if condition here. Like either ai minus aj or aj minus a, because they're both pair possibilities, right? That's why. That's why I'm explaining by this. This is pretty straightforward now. Any doubts in this one now, guys? This particular method. Let's provide a custom input. Run this code. Why do you ask? Because we need to count the number of pairs that have difference k. The question is essentially not finding the number of pairs. It is essentially finding the numbers that have a difference k. The main part was understanding how and when to calculate the pairs. The rest is all easy part. Now you just have to calculate the difference. That is just a if question. The question asks you to pick any two elements at random, and if there is difference k, then you can add the count by 1. And now you need to give the output like how many such pairs exist, where if you pick those two numbers, then the difference is exactly k. What is the output in line 36? I is not equal to j. Why? Because I've told you 32, 32 is not a valid pair. Pair means you need to select two different elements. So if I is equal to j, what you are doing is 32 minus 32, which is not correct. That's why. And ai minus aj is a simpler condition. You can use any of them, aj minus ai or ai minus aj. Not this means not equal to. This is equal to this, and this is not equal to. Okay. Exclamation then means not, and this means equal. For this case, you think of from this logic perspective, right? 32 comma 0 means 32 minus 0. That is 32 my, if I gave you k as 32 and I only take one of them, say 32 comma 0, then my pair will be counted. But in case the k is minus 32, then my pair won't be counted, but it should be because it is a pair, right? 32 minus 0 is positive 32, 0 minus 32 is minus 32. Those are two different values that are coming up, and you need to compare each of them with the k because any of them can match with the k. Count is taken because it is asked in the question. You need to count the number of pairs, count total pairs of integers that have a difference k. Or do you want to give input for this? All right, let's give this. How is it possible live session links are not showing on website? You just need to click join live sessions. It is showing. See, mock test questions won't be taken today. It will be taken tomorrow only because we have activated till 12 a.m. Like 12 a.m. today. So people who are left will take the mock test after class. So that's why. All right. Coming back to here. So what all pairs are we going to compare in this is I will write here. Okay. So we are comparing first initially 1 comma 5. So 1 minus 5 equal to k? No. So ignored. Count remains 0 only here. Okay. I'll update the count only when it is required. Okay. So 1 comma 5 is done. Then comes 1 comma 3. Is it a pair? 1 minus 3 equals 2. 1 minus 3 equals minus 2 and minus 2 is not equal to 2. Ignored. 1 comma 4 again ignored. 1 comma 2 again ignored. Coming back 5 comma 1 ignored because 5 minus 1 is 4. That is not equal to 2. Then comes 3 comma 1. Okay, 3 comma 1 equals to 2. So we'll increase the count by 1. Okay, so 3 comma 1 equals 2. Then 4 comma 1. Sorry, 5 comma 3. No. It's going to be 5 comma 3. My bad. 5 comma 3. Then also the count is going to increase anyway. So 5 comma 3 count will increase to 1 only. Now 5 comma 4 is there. That is count 1. 1 is not equal to 2. So count remains the same. 5 comma 2 3, the difference is 3. We want 2, not true, correct. Now comes 3 comma 1, difference is 2. So we'll increase the count by 1. 3 comma 5, because I now became 2 and j will start from 0 till n. Whenever I is not equal to j only. So 3 comma 1 is executed. 3 comma 5, we won't because it's minus 2. Then comes 3 comma 4, because 3 comma 3 is going to get skipped here itself. 3 comma 4, okay, not possible. 3 comma 2, again not possible. Okay, then comes 4. Okay, so what? 4 comma 1, 3 difference, not possible. 4 comma 5, again minus 1 difference, not possible. 4 comma 3, 1 difference, not possible. 4 comma 2, count increases to 3. Okay, 4 comma 2 is done. Now 2 comma 2 is not possible pair, so let's go for 2 comma 1, not possible. 2 comma 5, not possible. 2 comma 3, not possible. And 2 comma 4, that is also not possible. So that is it. Okay, now some of you are telling like why not use I plus 1. So we can use I plus 1. In that case, we have to consider both the possibilities, because we will be missing these pairs, repeated pairs. Like if you use I plus 1 here, so what will happen is 32 will be paired with 0, 63, 8. That is correct. But 0 will not be paired with 32. So this pair goes away. So this pair is removed. So you need to take possibilities of 32, 0 and 0, 32 both. Okay. So that's why when you do I plus 1, what you will have to do is you can remove this condition, because I was never going to be equal to j, because you're starting from I plus 1 only. That becomes a but of this thing. So we can ignore that and we can check this. And we can add or, because if either of them is true, that means we can count them as one of the pairs. Because it is pretty obvious that 32 comma 0 and 0 comma 32 cannot be k at the same time. So we cannot add and. That is going to be true only when the two values are exactly same. For two different values, it is not possible, right? That's it. This is just another method. There's no compulsion on using this method. This is a method to avoid these repetition of pairs. So if I use this method, what I'm ideally doing is, what are the number of pairs? 0, 63, 0, 8 will be paired. 63, 32, no. 63, 0, no. Only 63, 8 will exist and 8 will have no pairs. So I'll be only going through these pairs. But I need to consider both possibilities, 32, 0 and 0, 32. 32, 63 and 63, 32. 32, 8 and 8, 32. So that's why this if condition is added, where I compare aj minus ai and ai minus aj. Okay, clear now? This is the flower bracket that you have to print. Like after both the indented for loops, then only you'll print. No, you cannot do it absolute. That's a good question. But what if the k is negative? Then how will you use absolute, Vishal? Then it becomes a problem, right? That's a or symbol, guys. Come on. Like you can use absolute in one manner, is that's a trickier one to understand. Like you have to do mod of both k and abs, and when you write it down, you'll understand like, okay, this is correct. All right, any other doubts in this problem now? Yeah, that's what we're ideally doing here. Instead of swapping in literal manner, we are just swapping the indexes. No issues. Pair means you need to pick elements from two different indexes. We don't care about their values. That's the whole damn point. See, Aditya, if you go from start now, it is not that difficult. The difficult level has increased gradually and it has not increased that much also. So that's why we have used or, na? That's the whole damn point. Declare K is declared here, guys. Okay. All right. I'm closing this problem as well now. Rotation of array Shailesh आज नहीं हो पाएगा यार. Sorry, dude. You guys are waiting for 2-3 days, I know, but that question is gonna take time. I know that. That's why I'm not taking it today because I have not more than 8 minutes. So I'll take this question. This is pretty similar to what we have done now. So I'll just cover this up. Okay. So given an array of integers and a positive integer, determine the number of pairs in the array where ARI, where I is less than j and ARI plus ARij is just divisible by k. Same question. There's no difference in this. Instead of difference equal to k, we need to check whether the sum is divisible by k. No, it's not tough. It has a different concept. So I need time for explanation. So I don't want Tushar to miss on this class. That's why. Okay. So we'll gather straight to the question now. I think I'll just explain the question once more. In the last question, what we did was we made a difference equal to k. In this, we need to make sum divisible by k. That's it. End of story. Difference, there were two possibilities. Sum, there's only one possibility. Like 32 plus 0 and 0 plus 32 is the exact same thing. So we don't need to change that. Okay, so we cannot count 32 0 and 0 32 as a two pairs in this, because in that case the value of the operation was coming out to be different. That was 32 minus 0 is 32 and 0 minus 32 is minus 32. That's why we took two of them. In this, it is sum. So sum is obviously either you ARI plus ARJ or ARJ plus ARI. It is same. That is a mathematical operation, right? So let's start coding quickly. No individual codes will be entertained. I've told you from day one. You guys have 4 hours of doubt session each day. Join any one of them and ask mentors. They'll be more than happy to help you out. We have taken the input now. We have the K. So let's just do the count. Same manner. No difference in this. If again a for loop. So we need to start from j equals I plus 1 because it is clearly stated that j should be greater than I. So that means we are done here. If ARRI plus ARRJ, let's add a bracket so that there is no confusion in the compiler thing. Percentage K equal to 0. That means it is divisible by K. So count equals count plus 1. And just do a system.out.print count. And that's it. Let's give it the input. Run this code. 5 is the correct output. And we are good to go. All right, any doubts in this problem now? I don't think there should be. Exactly same as the last question, just this operation has changed. Only this if statement has changed. There's no change in the question other than that. So I think, yeah, it looks easy now. Reason being, you have understood those pair sum. That's why it is looking easy. Otherwise, it is not easy. The question says you need to count the number of pairs that whose sum is divisible by k. Instead of difference equals k, we need to find the sum that is divisible by k. So minus, instead of minus and equal to, we need to do a plus and percentage equal to 0. That's 8. Okay, let me try and submit. Is there an issue? No, there is no issues. There might be something wrong with the code. Sagar. Okay, so in this module, we are left with array rotation. We'll cover that tomorrow. Check your code for edge cases. That's the only way out. Never look at test cases, even if you're allowed to view. Why? Because once you start that, there's no way out. Start debugging your code by taking edge cases, like what if there was only one element, or what if there were more than this much elements. Is my code having an overflow error, or what kind of error? These are the only way to learn these things. This is not possible, Vibhuti. That is not possible. If your code is completely correct, it will pass. Not modify. You cannot view it. You should not view the code and modify it for test cases. It's just that your code is correct according to you, but not entirely correct. That means your code is not covering certain edge cases that it needs to cover. Yeah, because I've stopped screening now because there's nothing to explain anymore. Not at this stage. I think so. At this stage, is not possible. Like, even if you do it in n square, it will pass. There should not be an issue with that. They like that's a specific question, so you can join doubt class and ask any of the mentor. They'll explain. Like I cannot explain just by telling you, so that is not possible. Okay, so that's it from my side, guys. I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll take up arrow rotation for sure. Don't worry. Arrow rotation is left, and then there are only practice questions. So yeah. And I think so. If Tushar doesn't take array rotation today, I'll take tomorrow, or else he'll take whatever questions. He'll either take practice questions today, or he'll take array rotation. Okay. So whatever he doesn't cover, I'll cover that.
Yes, hello guys, welcome. Very good evening. The class has started. Welcome, guys. It's okay. Good evening, very good evening. Welcome. Okay. Hi, good evening. All right, let's start. Good evening, very good evening, guys. Welcome. So, did you guys try the programming test? Yes, no? How was the level? Let's good evening. No backlights. I'm sitting at a little different place. Backlights are still there. Tough. Okay. What were the questions? Can you quickly tell me? What were the questions? If somebody could tell me. Can anybody quickly tell me 2D array? Acha, okay. Extreme hard array transform. Perfect numbers transpose. Composite numbers. Smith numbers. Boston numbers, okay. Array diagram. One day. Got it, got it. Cool, and don't worry, guys. Okay, don't worry. Okay. We'll discuss about the double for loops. Okay. I definitely side. Definitely understand that. We'll discuss about double for loops. We'll discuss about matrices, and you will be fine. Okay. Just 1 second. So before we really move forward, okay, I just gave you a problem yesterday, and I just want to add on that problem. Okay, what was the problem saying? The problem was saying that right. The problem was saying that let's just add a lecture. Okay, we need to figure out. Okay. Yeah. So we need to actually figure out. हम लोगों को figure out करना है. So okay. So we need to figure out what क्या कह सकते हैं? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So now try to understand what was the question. Sorry, question. Yeah. What was the idea? We discussed yesterday that we were given a number n and we were given a number k, right? We were actually given a number n and we were given a number k, and then we were given n elements, right? We were given n elements. Okay. Then we were actually given n elements. The goal was to find out. Okay. The goal was to find out. We need to find out all the question kya tha? Yeah. So given the n elements, we need to find out the index of all the occurrences, right? I'll just tell you the question. So we were given an n size n, which is defining what are the number of elements, okay? Assuming the n is 5. And then we'll be given another value that is k, right? So k is actually denoting ki kaun si value hai, right? That is given maybe 4. And then we're given 5 elements. The 5 elements were 4 or maybe right 3, 1, 4, 0, 4, right? So ये 31404 है. So the question is that we need to find out. Okay, it's a zero based indexing, correct? It's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So what we need to find out? We need to find out the index of first occurrence. Find out the index of the first occurrence of the k, right? Find out the index of first occurrence of k. कि जो भी वैल्यू k है, whatever the value k is there, right? उस वैल्यू की जो भी फर्स्ट अकरेंस है, राइट? सी दिस 4 is occurring at two places, right? It's occurring at an index 2 and it is occurring at an index 4 also, right? This 4 is occurring at an index 2. ठीक है, मतलब वो कहां पर अपीयर हो रहा है? अपीयरिंग, राइट? अकरेंस मींस अपीयरिंग at what indices. So this element 2, this value 4, this is what if I consider this as a value, this is the value. So this is actually present at an index 2, number 1, and this is also present at an index 4, right? So this is present at index 2 and this is present at index 4. So I need to figure out what? I need to figure out the index of the first occurrence of this value, right? Of this number k. So answer should be 2, right? Answer should be 2, right? Answer should be 2, correct? Just one second. Yeah. So how can we do that? Any idea? कि हम लोग इसको कैसे कर सकते हैं? देखो, what we did yesterday, we did yesterday problem that we were trying to find out all the occurrences, right? Finding all the occurrences was easy. हम लोगों ने एक for loop लगाया for integer I equals to 0 से लेके I must be less than n तक and I plus plus. And what am I trying to do? I am trying to find out all the occurrences, right? I am trying to find out all the occurrences. What is agar if I find out that array of I, if I find out that array of I is equivalent to the k, right? If I find out that array of I is equivalent to k, I will simply try to print the indices, right? I'll simply try to print out system.out.println, system.out.println, that yes, print this particular index I and this plus some space, right? If this is the case, let me print a particular index, right? या ऐसा उठाए तो अगर मुझे सारे occurrences print करने थे तो मैंने उसको print कर दिया, but I want that, I don't want to print, so this will print what? This will actually print index 2 and this will also print index 4. ये index 2 और index 4 दोनों को print कर देगा. Just one second. Yeah, perfect. So ये index 2 और index 4 को दोनों को print कर देगा, but I don't really want that, right? Right? I don't really want that. ठीक है? That is something I don't want, right? तो मैं what is that I want? Okay. अगर मुझे एक index मिल गया, the moment I really find out an index, okay, the moment I really find out an index, what I will be doing that, okay, I will simply try to break my loop. If this condition is true, print the index, and the next thing I do, I will break my loop also. ठीक है? I will break my for loop कि मुझे further indices की तरफ नहीं जाना है. I don't want to go to further indices. This is called a break statement. ठीक है? So what this happens, it's like it's kind of a breakup types. ठीक है? कि whatever the iterations, the loops were going on, they will stop. Okay? This is called a break statement. Okay? It breaks the loop, right? Simple. It is a break statement. जहां पर भी iteration थी, so जो भी for loop चल रही होगी, right? जो भी for loop चल रही होगी, तो guys एक तो chat section बहुत annoying है. Yeah. So whatever the for loop will be there, right? So that for loop will exactly be broken, right? Okay. So this is where we'll be using the break statement. I'll just code it and show it to you guys. Okay. And yeah, simple, right? Let's just code this once. Okay. we should use the break statement after the print statement, right? What is the point of using, because I need the first index, right? I really need the first index, so I will be using the break statement after the print statement, of course. Let's just do it. Okay, let me define the scanner class. Scanner sc equals to new scanner system.in. Okay, system.in. So I'm defining the scanner class. Okay, now what am I doing? Integer n equals to sc.next int. ठीक है, मुझे n define करा है. I've actually defined n, and the next thing I'm defining is integer k, right? Integer k equals to sc.next int. तो मैंने n define कर लिया, मैंने k define कर लिया, right? These are the two things that I've defined. Now what will I do? I will try to take an integer array, right? I will try to take an integer array of size k. How will I take? Let me declare an array, integer array arr equals to new int array, right? Size is n. I will be taking the array elements with the help of a for loop. For integer I equals to 0, I must be less than ni plus plus. Array of I is equal to sc dot next int, right? So मैंने n elements ले लिए in the form of an array, right? I have simply taken n elements. That these are the n elements. These are the n elements I have taken in an array. Taken in an array. Right? Yeah. So these are the n elements that I have simply taken in an array. Correct. All right. So n elements हमने array में ले लिए, and once you have really taken n elements in the array, okay. Once you have really taken n elements in the array, so उसके बाद what is the next thing I will be doing? I just need to find out the first index, right? I need to find out the first index as a first index where the value is equals to maybe to k, right? As a first index जिस पे value equals to k हो. Let me do it in another way. So I will be marking the index. I will be initializing it to -1. ठीक है. अभी के लिए I'm just initializing it to -1, so that might be given in the problem that in case the value is not there, right? For example, there could also be a possibility that there are 5 elements and it is 10, right? But 10 does not exist in the array, right? So 10 does not exist in the array. In that case, the answer should be -1, right? The answer should be -1, that yes, there is no particular index with the value 10, right? There is no particular index with value 10. No particular index is there with value 10. Right? No particular index with value 10. That is right. तो ऐसा एक इंडेक्स नहीं है जिसकी वैल्यू है 10 के बराबर. So that is why we are printing the answer as -1. All right, simple. Okay, so how will I be doing this? Okay, a very simple idea. I will be simply using a for loop. Okay. Yeah. Right. I will be simply using a for loop. ठीक है. For loop क्या करेगा? For integer I equals to 0 से लेके I must be less than n I plus plus. देखो, index is just a variable, right? Index is just, I will name this as answer index. कि answer index denote कर रहा है. ठीक है. So what is answer index denoting? Answer index is actually denoting कि ऐसा index जिस पे value equals to k है, right? I need to find out such an index. I need to find out such an index which is कि इस particular index पे जो value है, जो भी value है, whatever at this particular index, whatever the value is there, that is equivalent to k, right? That is equivalent to k. I need to figure out such type of index. ऐसा index ढूंढना है जिसके लिए I am getting this, right? Okay. So we will be using normal curly brackets. Okay, so this is, here we go. Okay. So what I will be finding out, I will be trying to find out that if array of I is equivalent to k, right? If array, अगर मुझे ऐसा index मिलता है the first time I really find out this index, right? -1 is just by default I'm assigning any value. This might be given in the question कि अगर कोई आंसर नहीं आता assign it to -1. Okay, this will be given in the question. Okay, this thing will be given in the question that if none of the values are come, by default the value should be -1. कि अगर कोई आंसर नहीं आता है, if there is no answer, okay, if there is no answer, then the by default value, जो by default value है, that should be -1. So by default value should be -1. So this is the idea, right? This is the idea. So इस case में we are trying to print as the -1. Okay. So if the array of I is equal to k, I will try to mark as the answer index equals to I, and I will break my loop. Okay. I will simply try to break the loop. And after this, I will try to system.out.println index, answer index. Right? Simple. This is the answer index. Okay. Let's just do this with the help of an example. Assuming n is 5, n are 5 elements, and the next thing we are having is k. The k is 3. Okay. So we are having the array elements as 2, 3, 4, 3, and 4, right? 2, 3, 1, 3, 4. Okay. So what should the answer? The answer should be index 1, right? So answer will be 1. That 1 is the first index. 1 is that particular first index which is having value equals to k. Okay. ऐसा फर्स्ट इंडेक्स हमें ढूंढना है, राइट? ओके, या सो आंसर इज 1, राइट? तो अगर इफ वी आर ओनली हैविंग वन, इफ वी आर ओनली हैविंग वन लूप, ओके, इफ वी आर ओनली हैविंग वन स्टेटमेंट टू राइट, या the switch cases break is different break. Okay, this is, the break is actually same, but switch cases में भी use करते हैं. Here it is used to break the loop. Okay, it is used to break the loop. Simple. The switch cases, I mean this is used to break the loop. कि अगर मुझे एक पर्टिकुलर लूप को ब्रेक करना है, then this is something I have to do. Okay, simple, right? तो अगर एक ही स्टेटमेंट होती है, then we don't use the brackets. We can use the brackets, you can use the bracket, that's fine. Okay, here you use the brackets. All right. This is about the use of the break statement, correct? So this is the condition checking, guys. अगर array of I equals to k है, if the value of element of an array, if the value of element of an array that is equivalent to k, अगर वो k के बराबर है, जो भी वैल्यू है, वैल्यू ऑफ एन एलिमेंट, दैट इज व्हाट, दैट इज डिनोटेड बाय एन एरे ऑफ i, राइट? अगर एरे ऑफ i इज इक्वल टू k, अगर वो k के बराबर है, सिंपली आंसर इंडेक्स विल बी मार्क्ड एज i and we'll simply try to break out of the loop, right? All right, correct? All right, I think that's fine, right? So yeah, this is by answer equals to minus index, this will be given to you in the question. Okay, this will be given to you in the question. Okay, let's just try this once. Okay, just let's try it for one more input. Agar I am having this 4 indices, n is 4 and k is 3, right? I am having 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So answer should be 2 because it's a zero based indexing. So 0, 1, 2, answer should be 2, right? Right, so this is our answer is 2, right? All right, so this is fine, right? Okay. Sahi hai. Sounds good. So now try to understand this. Now try to understand a very important concept, and that concept is right. Not understanding. Okay, not getting. I'll just quickly try to repeat it once, guys. Try to understand this. इतना मुश्किल नहीं है जितना तुम लोगों ने बना दिया, ठीक है, कर क्या रहे हैं इसमें, what is that we are trying to find out? We are trying to find out that we are trying to find out the first index. We are trying to find out the first index. ऐसा first index ढूंढना है such that array of index, we need to find out that particular index. ऐसा first index ढूंढना है such that array of index is equal to k, right? ऐसा हमें index ढूंढना है, right? There are multiple indices, there could be multiple indices, but we need to find out the first index such that this particular condition array of index is equal to k. ठीक है, this is the question. So I am marking as answer index variable. Okay, answer index is a variable. It is very similar, try to relate it. What we have done is integer sum, right? जैसे हम integer sum करते थे, variables declare करते थे ना हम लोग, the same. So this is answer index variable, right? So this answer index variable will actually try to store the answer of the first index. Answer index variable will actually try to store the answer of the first index, um, where array of I is equivalent to k, right? Where array of I is equivalent to k. तो उसको, so how will I be doing this? And now try to see. I am trying to have a for loop. Okay, trying to have a for loop for integer I equals to 0 से लेके n तक and I plus plus, right? For I equals to 0 से लेके n तक I plus plus. So what we are having, if array of I is equivalent to k, right? अगर array of I है that is equivalent to k, in that case we will mark as answer index. The answer index will be marked as I and will simply break out of the loop, right? If the answer index is equal to I will simply break out of the for loop. Simple. तो बस इतना ही है. मैं I am simply checking for every index, try to understand every index I am really comparing. ठीक है, कि this array of I is equivalent to k, yes or not. अगर the moment I really find out that array of index, whatever the array of index is there, that is equivalent to the k value which is given in the question. Okay, कि array of index k के बराबर होगा, in that case वही index मेरा answer index है, that is the same index as answer index, right? Okay, all right. -1 guys, -1 will be given in the question. आप इसको मत लिखो, ठीक है, आप इसको 0 लिख लो, आप इसको 0 लिख लो. ये क्वेश्चन में गिवन होगा कि by default the value will be -1. Okay, हाँ, तो अगर there is no value, right? अगर there is no value, in that particular case, if there is actually no value, right? अगर ऐसी कोई नहीं value तो answer should be -1. So what is it saying? So if there is no value, if there, this is some, what will be question given in the question? If there is no value, if there is no value equals to k, okay, if there is no value equals to k, in that case the answer should be -1, right? So for that reason I am trying to initialize it by -1. ठीक है, clear, all right, okay, makes sense. ठीक है ना, this is makes sense. This is the use of the break statements. Okay, so now yeah, makes sense. All right, so maybe let's try to jump to double for loops. Okay, let's try to jump for double for loops. Okay, now we'll try to understand how to understand a loop inside another loop, right? एक loop के अंदर we will be having another loop. Okay, we'll be having a loop, and inside a loop we'll try to have another loop. That is the idea. Okay, inside a loop we'll try to have another loop. I would strongly request you guys, please try to watch the recordings. Okay, I understand a lot of you guys are new. This is your first class or second classes. Please try to watch the previous lectures, and you will try to get a better idea. Okay, please, it's humble request, try to watch the previous lectures, and right, then I mean that is how you can prepare yourself for the coding test, and your journal problem solving skills will get improved. Okay. So it's not possible for me to explain in every lecture the complete details. You also try to understand. अगर आप नहीं थोड़ा लेट ज्वाइन करा है आपने, then I think it's your responsibility थोड़ा बहुत कि आप लोग कोशिश करके जो lectures हो गए हैं, whatever the lectures have been covered, you try to watch the recordings of that lectures. All right. Okay, sounds good. So now I will try to teach you a very interesting concept. That interesting concept is a loops between the loops, right? So we are having loops and then we are having more loops. Okay. Okay. So what is the idea? Let's try to understand what is the loop inside loop. Okay. This is the loops inside the loops. So what I will be trying to do. Okay. Um. Okay. So now try to understand. Okay, what is the idea? The idea is that अगर हम लोग if we really try to do this, what is that we try to do? It's called nested loops, true. Okay. तो assuming I have to print this pattern. Okay. अगर मुझे pattern print करना होता 5 stars 1 2 3 and 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 right? So I have to actually print this pattern. तो ये pattern कैसे print करूंगा? How will I be actually printing this pattern? मुझे सिंपली पैटर्न प्रिंट करना है. हाउ कैन आई प्रिंट दिस पैटर्न? In so I have 5 rows. Okay, I really have 5 rows, and in each of the rows we have 3 stars. So I have 5 rows. So I have 5 rows, and in each of the rows I really have 3 stars. तो मेरे पास 5 rows हैं और हर रो में I have 3 stars. So this is the pattern I need to print, right? This is the pattern I need to print. Pattern I need to print. Right? This is the pattern I need to print. तो कैसे प्रिंट कर सकते हैं इसको? सोच के देखो. Try to understand, try to think hard that how can we actually print this pattern? I have to print this pattern. How can I print this pattern? What is the way in which I'll be printing this pattern? Okay, ठीक है. तो एक चीज सोच के देखो. Okay, try to understand this. So in case, try to visualize this from very basic step. Okay, that I was, if I had to print simply 3 stars, then what I would have done, right? मैं एक for loop लगा के print कर सकता था. If I have to simply print this pattern, if I have to simply print just three stars, right? So what I would have simply done, I would have simply printed this with the help of 3 stars, right? For integers, number is equal to 1 से लेके number must be less than equal to 3 and number plus plus. ठीक है? This is very flexible thing, right? तो number variable को 1 से शुरू कर सकते हो, 3 तक end कर सकते हो. You can actually start the number variable from 1 and you can end it at 3, right? Because you really need 3 values. So you will be printing it 3 times, right? So you can really print it 3 times, okay? And you will be printing that star value, right? So you will be printing the star value. So what you will be doing next, okay? What you will be doing next, आप यहाँ पर एक star print कर देंगे, right? You will actually be printing the star. So I'll be printing the star system.out.print, and then I'll be printing the star part, okay? And then some space part also. एक star print कर दिया, एक space print कर दिया. Let me show you how this is working, right? Let's see. तो ये एक लाइन में what is this for loop doing? Try to see. This for loop is actually trying to print these 3 stars, right? This for loop, what is this for loop doing? This for loop is simply trying to print these stars, right? Print the stars. कि जो भी stars हैं, that stars I need to actually print, right? That is what the for loop is all doing. All right. Okay. So we could see that it is simply trying to print the 3 stars. Okay, correct. Now try to understand. Okay. Okay. So now try to understand that what is the next thing that we are doing. अब मुझे यही pattern, okay, I need to actually print. I need to repeat this pattern 5 times, right? Or maybe suppose I will have to repeat this pattern maybe 50 times. अगर मुझे pattern 50 times repeat करना हो तो the same pattern, right? So this is a pattern that I need to repeat, right? ये एक pattern है जो मेरे को repeat करना है, and this pattern I have to repeat 5 times or 50 times or 500 times. So that also shows कि ये pattern को repeat करने के लिए I need another loop, right? In order to repeat the pattern, in order to repeat the pattern part, okay, in order to actually repeat the pattern, अगर मुझे pattern repeat करना है, I will have to use in order to actually repeat the pattern. So what is that I will be doing? Um, yeah, in order to repeat the pattern, I will try to use another loop, right? कि मतलब जो भी ये pattern आपने decide करा है, whatever the pattern that you have decided, I want to repeat the same pattern, right? So I will be trying to use another for loop, right? I will try to use another for loop which is outside this, okay? Which is outside this, and which is denoting ki lines, right? So which is denoting there is a for loop for integer line ki line equals to 1 से लेके line must be less than equals to 5 and line plus plus, right? कि जो भी ये pattern था, see, try to understand whatever this pattern was there, right? Simple idea. Whatever this pattern was there, I am simply trying to repeat that pattern, right? I want simply trying to repeat that pattern in 5 lines. Line equals to 1 से लेके line must be less than equals to 5 तक, right? The goal is that कि जो भी ये pattern है, whatever this pattern was there, this pattern is to be repeated 5 times. This pattern actually repeats itself 5 times. Pattern क्या है? Pattern is 3 stars. What is the pattern? Yes, we are simply trying to print those 3 stars. This is the pattern. And this pattern is what we want to print in 5 lines. Line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5. Right? So this pattern we want to repeat in 5 lines. And this is the actual pattern, right? तो दो loop किस लिए लग रहे हैं? एक loop तो लग रहा है pattern को print करने के लिए. And the other loop is actually telling what to do in lines. Right? कितनी lines में वो pattern repeat करना है. That is what we are trying to do. Now we can see that. Yeah. So this, okay, so actually at after every line, one more mistake हमने एक चीज नहीं करी. After every line, okay, after every line, after the pattern is printed, okay, one mistake. After the pattern is actually printed, see, in every line, after the pattern is printed, right? हर line के बाद, even after every line, what I was doing, after the pattern is printed, I need to break here line also, right? यहाँ पर I need to break the line. I need to break the line, okay, or maybe I need to end the line basically. Not break it, but end the line. How will I be ending the line? System.out.println bus. System.out.println. So that is kind of ending the line part, right? That's not break statement, but line end करनी है कि the next print statements should come in the another line, right? Okay. So first variable is denoting the line by line. कि line 1 में क्या हो रहा है, line 2 में क्या हो रहा है, right? There is an internet issue. एक second. Guys, is there an actual internet issue? Just one second. Not sure what. No, we cannot use a break statement, Dinesh. No. Okay, we can use some online other compiler. So what is the variable outer loop doing? वो line by line को iterate कर रहा है, right? वो line by line को print कर रहा है, simple. ठीक है? And what is the inner loop doing? Okay. Inner loop, और maybe मैं इसको stars variable भी name कर सकता हूँ. I can even name this as stars. Okay. कि in every line मुझे कितने stars print करने हैं? For integer stars is equals to 1, stars must be less than equals to 3, and stars plus plus, right? So what I will be doing, system.out.print, यहाँ पर सिर्फ print a आएगा, right? That I need to print the stars, so I'm printing the stars, right? You want to print them, then using the space you can print them without the space, that's also fine. Okay, all right. So let's run this here. So yes, this is working fine, right? तो लाइन क्या बता रहा है कि कितनी लाइंस प्रिंट होनी चाहिए? What is star telling? Star is telling कि एक लाइन में कितने स्टार्स प्रिंट होनी चाहिए. Can you print a pattern of maybe 6x8, a 6 maybe 6 rows, 6 in one row and 8 such rows, right? Can you actually print a pattern of this 8 rows? 8 rows, and this is called rows, right? Row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, right? These things are called rows. Okay, इनको rows बोलते हैं, and these are called columns. Column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5, right? These things are called columns. So जो ये वाली चीजें होती हैं, they're called rows, and जो ये वाली चीजें होती हैं, they're called columns, right? So we have rows and then we have the columns. So this is the definition. ऐसे by chance in case. Yes, good, Adarsh, good. No, Divya, no. Okay. Because दीपा हम लोग for loop के हिसाब से print कर रहे हैं, right? So we are using the println statement, right? We are using the println statement because see, here we'll be using the println statement is actually used when we really want to break the line. So println statement, okay, when is the println statement used? So try to visualize it in this way, okay? Try to visualize in this way that what am I simply trying to do? Okay, what am I simply trying to do? Line variable is actually trying to show us line by line, right? What is the line variable? Line variable is trying to show कि what happens line by line, right? कितनी lines हैं? In each line, what we are having? In each line, we are having this pattern, right? Pattern क्या है? Pattern is 3 stars, right? So this is what we are having in each line. तो ये आ गया pattern. This is what is with that is what is there in the pattern part, correct? So since this is there in the pattern, and so after every pattern, I need to break, right? After every pattern, I need to simply do that system.out.println. System.out.println. Right? This is something I need to do after every pattern, right? तो ये चीज करनी है मुझे हर पैटर्न के बाद. This is something that I need to do after every pattern. Simple. ये यहाँ पर प्रिंट इसलिए यूज कर रहे हैं because I don't want to break the line, right? I want to print them in a continuous line. I don't want that after every star I try to break the line. Guys, I would strongly recommend you guys, okay, instead of asking me the questions, let's you automatically try doing that. Whatever things जो आपको लग रहा है ना, आप एक काम करो, and this is very important for you to do this, okay? Sort of asking questions, you will never learn programming, okay? Programming is all about trying yourself and trying to solve the problems, okay? So what I would recommend you guys, what is the best way to learn, okay? For example, you're doubtful of this, okay? You're doubtful of this and you don't want to have this. You can erase this line and then run the code, then see what happens, right? And then check the code, right? You will realize its importance that the code is not printing. So you will try to get the importance of every line. कि ये line क्या कर रही है, that after every pattern it tries to break the line. Okay, जो भी चीजें मैं आपको ध्यान में हो रहा है, whatever things that you are getting, okay, that will be very important that you try this on your own, right? That you actually try this on your own. It is really important, okay? Whatever things that you're doubtful, right? That you're not really clear that why this is doing, right? Why this is print, why this is not println. You try this println, then see what happens. Yeah, you could see that not working, right? So what was the print statement doing? The print statement was actually trying to print these three stars in the same line. What was the print statement doing? If you realize this, the print statement task was that whatever these three stars are there, the तीनों stars should actually come in the same line. That is why it was not a print ln, that was normal a print statement. Okay. ही ट्राई करके आएंगे आपके, ठीक है? All right. Okay. This is the idea. Okay, that is how you really try to print the stars. Okay. Now let's try to complicate the problems. Okay. So now the next type of problems that we try to do. Okay. The next problem that we'll try to do is that I need to print the stars. I need to print this pattern. Okay. Where I'm writing lectures. Right. So I need to actually print this pattern. So maybe one star in line number one, two stars in second line, three stars in third line. Okay. Four stars in fourth line, five stars in fifth line, right? Six stars in the sixth line, and so on. So in line number one star, line number two stars, line number three stars. I think I've drawn it one line number two, line number three, line number. So they've kind of become very much. So they're definitely in a straight line. Okay, it seems like they're in a triangle, but they're not. So line number four stars. All right. Yeah, so this is the kind of a right angle triangle, right? तो कैसे करेंगे? Any idea? थोड़ा सोचो. इसमें try to actually it is all about pattern identification. Okay, this thing is all about pattern identification. Okay, this is about pattern identification. Try to relate a pattern. Okay, what is the pattern that I could see? This thing is very common. This is a very standard thing. So try to understand in line number one. Okay, so line variable, suppose I have to print 5 lines. I have to print it 5 lines, right? I have to print 5 such rows. 5 rows मुझे print करनी है. It is telling that print 5 rows. Okay, and in every row, what you should have, the number of stars, whatever the number of stars that you're having. Okay, whatever the number of stars you're having, they should be equals to the number of stars are there, right? whatever the number of stars, they should be equal to the line number. अगर आप ये चीज relate कर पा रहे हो, whatever the number of stars are there, right? Whatever the number of stars are there, the number of stars should be exactly equivalent to the line number. कि इतने stars होने चाहिए इस line number में, कि these are the number of stars we are having in this particular line, right? These are the number of stars we are having in this particular line, right? कि yes, these are the number of stars we are having in this particular line. कि इस particular line number में we should actually have these many stars. That is ideal, right? Okay, let's try to think of the logic. Almost बहुत similar logics होते हैं. Okay, that I want to print 5 lines. Okay, so I am trying to print 5 lines. Fine. Okay, what is the next thing I'll try to do? The number of stars are not fixed. Okay, if you try to understand the number of stars, whatever the number of stars in each line, the logic यही है ना, इसका logic क्या है? The logic is this, कि number of stars कितने मुझे print करने हैं, the number of stars that I have to actually print in each line is equivalent to the line number, right? In this I am printing 1 star, in this I am printing 2 stars, in this thing I am printing 3 stars, in this I am printing 4 stars, and so on, right? So the number of stars that I'm actually printing, that is very exactly equivalent to the line number. कि इतने stars, इतनी जो भी line number है, that many stars I have to print, right? Okay, so the number of stars should be less than equal to the line number. Simple. Stars plus plus, simple, right? Done. Let's see. Yeah, here we are. You want to print it for n lines, where n is the user input, you can do that, right? You want to print the same pattern for n lines, you can simply do that. Scanner class, let's take the user input scanner. Okay, whenever you're defining the scanner class sc equals to new scanner, okay, system dot in, this is the line. अगर आपको कुछ भी user input लेना है, make sure that you write a line. Okay, make sure that you write a line, import java dot util, okay, util dot asterisk. आप ये line लिखोगे, you will actually be writing this line so that you can write the scanner class. Okay, you will be writing this line so that you can use the scanner class. ठीक है, because scanner class is defined in the util library. ठीक है, scanner class है, that is not something that आप, because Java को कैसे पता लगेगा, how will Java actually come to know कि what is the scanner class doing, right? How will the Java come to know? Java will come to know अगर आप उसको library से call कर रहे हो, you are actually asking that from the library. Okay, okay, so what will I be doing? Okay, let's define the user input n. So I will be taking the user input n. That okay, you user tell me how many lines you want to print off this pattern. Okay, I will not fix it. I will ask it the user. Okay, that user you tell me, and whatever the number user value whatever the value the user enters, those many lines should be printed. Okay, if the user enters a value 5 or 7, 7 such lines will be printed, right? If a user enters the value 10 such lines have to be printed. Simple. Let's see. So first user is entering the value. Maybe I want to print 15 lines. Enter. Nice. So you could see that मैंने 15 enter करा, and since this was a journal program, right? This is tried to print very beautifully a large right angle triangle. Right? Now I want you guys to try this. Very interesting. Okay. The next thing I want you guys to understand is that अगर मुझे ये pattern print करना हो, what will I be doing? 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, and so on, right? This pattern keeps on repeating. So you will ask a user input n. Okay, I want everybody to write the code. Okay, don't say कि इसमें ये कर दिया वो कर दिया. Proper tell me the 2 for loops. Okay, you will proper tell me the complete for loops. This was the code that we had. Yes, guys, I want everybody to write the code properly on their own. Right? This just 1 second. I'll join back you guys in a minute. Please try writing the code, guys. This pattern I want you guys to just to come. Yes, guys. So sorry. There was manager's call. I cannot ignore that calls. They're more important. All right. Um, sounds good. Okay, I could see that people are able to write the code. Sounds good. Yes, good. Naga Prasad, Haider Ali, um, Ria is not sure. Ria, just write the proper code. I think not sure. I think your code will work. Prashil Patel, good. And Bankade is good. Yeah, good. Manu Bankade, good. No, incorrect, Manu. It's incorrect. Shayad. Yeah, it's incorrect. You try to run the code, it will not work. Datta Krishna code is incorrect. Shayad. Yeah, the code is incorrect. Right. And Gokul can. Guys, please try writing your codes also. I could see Gokul, yeah, Gokul code is, Gokul, your code will print one less line, okay? You should be less than equals to n because you need to print n lines of such thing. Okay. So you're having this 1 से लेके n तक and then you have to print I lines, all right? Guys, please try writing the code, okay? एक बार कोड लिख के देखो, ट्राई रनिंग द कोड, ठीक है, फिर उससे ज्यादा कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा. एक बार ट्राई सबमिटिंग द कोड, आई मीन ट्राई रनिंग इट ऑन द कंपाइलर. यू यूज ऑनलाइन जीडीबी कंपाइलर, ऑनलाइन कोड शेफ कंपाइलर, compilers, any of the compilers you can use, okay? But please, it's a humble request, try writing code on the compiler and then check it. You will automatically come to know अगर कुछ गलतियां हैं. Okay, it's not possible for me to go through every code and check. You automatically try and you will come to know. Simple. If it is printing correct, then it's correct. Otherwise, it's not correct. Simple. So what we'll be doing? I'll just try to rewrite this code once. Okay. So we have taken the user input n that will actually show, that will actually tell us ki n lines of pattern we need to print, right? It is the user input that tells us we need to print n lines of pattern. We need to print n lines of pattern. तो पैटर्न के अपने को n lines print करने हैं. That is the idea, right? We need to actually print n lines of the pattern. That is the idea. And since we need to print n lines, okay, we need to print n lines. Okay. So let's see this. For example, first मुझे lines print करनी है. Integer line is equals to 1. Line must be less than equal to n and line plus plus. Okay. I have to print line equals to 1 से लेके n तक. So I am printing line equals to 1 से लेके line must be less than equal to n तक. And yeah, okay. So this is trying to tell me how many lines, right? Now in every line, okay. Now try to understand this. Whatever I write here, that particular thing, whatever things I write here, that particular thing will be printed in every line, right? That will be printed in every line. Whatever I actually write here, that thing will be printed in every line. Okay. Whatever the things that are there, that particular thing will be printed in every line. That is the idea, right? Okay. Now since this will be printed in every line, try to understand this. Okay. How will I be doing that? I will be trying to do a for loop. Okay. I will be trying to do a for loop for integer number is equals to 1. Number must be less than equals to, okay, the number must be less than equals to the line number and number plus plus. And in each line, you are trying to print the system.out.print, print the number part, right? And plus some space. System.out.print the number part plus some space, right? That is the idea. And for integer number equals to 1 से लेके number must be less than equals to line तक, number plus plus. And for each line, you're trying to print the number, right? Let's run this. I want to print 5 lines. I'm entering number 5. Oh, sorry. After every line, sorry again. After every line, I need to break the line also, right? I need to break the line. This break line is very important. Okay, system.out.println. All right. So after every line, I need to simply break the line. Okay. Yeah. So 5 lines again, 6 lines. Okay, 6 lines. Yeah. So you could see that. So this is doing what? This is trying to show the outer loop. Okay. This is just the outer loop, which is telling how many lines, right? Simple. And what is the inner part of the loop doing? Inner part batata hai. Inner part of the for loop is actually telling how the pattern should look like, right? So inner part is doing what? It is telling how the pattern should look like, right? how the pattern should look like, right? How the pattern is actually, okay? How the pattern is actually, if you try to understand. Okay, in this particular case, okay, in this particular case, this is the pattern we need to follow for every line, right? How the pattern looks like, how the pattern is there for every line, simple, right? How the pattern is actually there for every line. कि yes, this is the particular pattern we need to follow for every line. हर एक particular line का ये pattern है. This is the pattern that is there for every line. So that is what we are exactly following. ठीक है? That मुझे n numbers print करने from 1 to n, and then what is the next thing I am trying to do? Okay, the next thing that I am trying to do is right, and yeah, this one, yeah. So जो next thing मैं कर रहा हूँ in everything, तो मैंने ये pattern print करा, okay, मैंने pattern print करा. This loop is trying to do what? This is just trying to print the numbers from 1 to n. ये पहले बता रहा है कि हर line की क्या story है, right? What is the story of every line? This is what it's telling me. What is the story of every line? ठीक है. That yes, this is the story of every line, simple, right? So in every line, this is the story of every line. तो उस every line में we need to have n numbers, right? n numbers उसमें क्या है? First I need to print n numbers. I need to print n numbers. What are the numbers? The numbers are from 1, 2, 3, 4 and all this, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4 and yeah. तो ये 4 नंबर मुझे प्रिंट करने हैं in the ith line and yeah, simple, right? So and so what journal format में लिख रहा हूँ, right? So try to understand. I'm just writing here journal variables कि line तक खत्म होगा, right? And this line is also dependent on n. So I'm not writing it very specific कि 5 तक print करना है या फिर just have to print like stars, right? So this is very general. This is how you actually try to maintain that pattern part, right? This is how to, you know, how can you maybe mm, try to identify the journal thing that yes, this is the style in which I can write. Of course, there are much more difficult patterns. Okay, honestly, there are much more difficult patterns. One is there, so this is one difficult pattern, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So definitely the complexity can increase. So this is one of the tough patterns to code. Okay, but I think at this stage of time, specifically for your pre-course, this is not required. Okay, this is not required. Just basic patterns to we have done these patterns so that we can understand what do we really mean by double loops. Okay, the goal for doing these patterns was that we can understand what do we really mean by double loops. Okay, and I'm writing in input the number of lines I need to print, right? कि मुझे कितनी lines print करनी है. I'm writing in the input the number of lines I am printing. Number of lines that I want to print of this pattern. Number of lines I need to print of this particular pattern. Print for this pattern, right? कि इस particular line के कितने इस particular pattern के how many lines I really need to print. That is what I am defining the variable n. Okay. All right. So now try to understand and um, okay. So now try to understand that there are definitely much more complex available. Okay, much more complex patterns available. But I think that is something that we'll be trying to cover in the main course. Okay, that is not part of the pre-course. Okay, not required. Okay, the pre-course is just to help you get started with this. Okay, difficult patterns will come along the way. And okay, so now one very important thing I want to discuss with you guys. जैसे मैं double the way we have really done double loops. Let me talk about 2D arrays also somewhat. Okay, after I really discuss about 2D arrays, and in after that class 2D arrays, and in tomorrow's class also, we'll focus more on the problem solving part. Okay, we'll try to cover some different standard variations that are there across with double for loops, this two for loops, this 2D arrays and all that stuff. Okay. Okay, right. So now what we'll be doing, okay, what we'll be doing that, um, okay. So let's try to understand what do we really mean by 2D array, right? So we were having this one piece of information, right? So we were having a 1D array. What was 1D array doing? 1D array was actually trying to store the information in a contiguous manner, right? 1D array was actually trying to store the information in a contiguous manner. And yes, in 1D array, right? It's kind of, it's a 1D array, right? Okay. So that's his idea for 1D array. But suppose I am having maybe a chess, right? So something like chess can actually need to have a piece in 2D information, right? Something like chess needs to have we need to store information in 2D, right? Chess is a 2D thing, right? Or if you write something, maybe a good example could be that I think your school registers are also kind of 2D, if you could remember that. They're 2D tables. So a lot of time happens that you need to store the information in 2D format. Okay. Just say um just say you try to understand, maybe you were writing that present absent, if you could remember that, that matrix formats are there, right? So this could be a chessboard. Okay, this could be a good chessboard. So in chessboard, you try to understand that the information is present in the 2D form, right? Information is actually present in the 2D form, correct? So even if in your school registers, if you remember, so this was maybe, so this is maybe Kiran, this is maybe Mehran, okay? This is maybe Manikant. So maybe I am having the attendance part, right? And then it is telling absent, present, right? Absent is there, present or absent, right? So all this information can actually be filled. Present, absent, all this information, right? So this all information is actually being filled in the 2D array. Okay. So this is the importance of the 2D array, right? This is the actual importance of the 2D array. Yeah, it's like a Excel sheet. Yeah, correct. So yeah, जब हम attendance देख रहे हैं से तो kind of I hope you have understood that the importance of 2D matrix, that there are times when we really need to store the information in 2D matrix. Yes, it's like it's actually a matrix. Okay, this is actually a matrix only. Okay, this thing is called a matrix. Now a matrix has two things. Okay, it has rows. The first thing the matrix has is rows, and the second thing the matrix has is columns. तो मैट्रिक्स में दो चीजें होती है, एक तो रोज होते हैं, and the second thing the matrix has is column, row and column. दो चीज होते हैं मैट्रिक्स में. Okay. So now this is the matrix. Okay. The rows होती हैं that are horizontal kind of thing, right? Row 0, row 1, row 2, and so on, right? And similarly, we have columns, right? 0 or 1, 2, 3. So जैसे array में one, the array is also zero based indexing, right? Similarly, 2D array is also zero based indexing, right? A 2D array, so these are the rows, right? These are actually the rows part. And similar to this rows, we have the columns part also. 0, 1, 2, 3. So ये होते हैं columns. This thing is called a column. ये होते हैं column, right? So we have the rows part and also we have the columns, right? तो हमारे पास rows आ गए and then we have the columns. Next. Okay. Okay. So what is the matrix? How to actually fill the values of the matrix? So in order to refer, okay, in order to refer any particular box, this box will have a particular address, right? Each box or each room number will have a particular address. How will you denote that address? The address will be whatever the name of this matrix is. Maybe the name is matrix or array. Okay. So how to declare this? Okay. So suppose how will I be declaring this? In order to declare this matrix, I will be declaring this. See, this is how I used to declare an integer array. Integer array मैं इसको ऐसे declare करता रहा, equals to new integer, right? Equals to new integer and size is 4, right? So this is how I am actually declaring an integer array, right? So this is how I am actually declaring a 1D array. This is how I'm declaring a 1D array. In order to declare a 2D array, okay, in order to declare a 2D array, the process is almost similar, okay. What is the syntax? The syntax is that it is an integer. Since it's a 2D array, so I will be using two brackets. It's a 2D array. the name of the array will be ARR, and that is equivalent to new integer. Okay. And then I have to pass two brackets, right? And then tell the size, right? What is the size of the matrix? In this case, since the size is 4 cross 4, okay, the size is not 3, but the size is 4, right? So size I will be writing as 4 cross 4. तो यहाँ पर आएगा 4 and यहाँ पर भी आएगा 4. This is telling me the size of the rows. Okay, this is actually telling me the number of rows. ठीक है कि yes इतने rows हैं, right? And this is telling me the number of columns. That particular thing is telling me the number of rows, and this particular thing is telling me the number of columns. कि yes इतने particular columns हैं. This is how I am actually defining a matrix, right? This is how am I really defining a matrix. Okay. Yeah, this is how I am really defining a matrix. Yes, this particular matrix will have these many rows, and this particular matrix will have these many columns, right? 4 rows होंगे matrix के और 4 उसके होंगे columns, right? So that is how I'm defining the size. That this is how the size is defined. All right, fine. That's how I'm defining the size of the matrix part. Right? This is the number of rows. Almost similar syntax, right? It is almost absolutely the same syntax. Okay, rows, columns define करने हैं, and this is same syntax, right? And in order to refer any particular value, अगर मुझे किसी so how the values are 0 to 0, right? This is 0,1. ये उनके addresses हैं. This is 0,2. This is 0 through third column. ये in सब particular for every box or for every particular value or every particular is having a particular address, right? ठीक है. Both the arrays can be of same size, but both the arrays can be of different size also. I mean, the rows and columns can have different values also. So what is this? 1,0, 1,1, 1,2, 1,3, 1,2,0, 2,1, 2,2, 2,3, 3,0, 3,1, 3,2 and 3,3, right? तो अगर मुझे कोई पर्टिकुलर वैल्यू रेफर करनी है, in case I want to refer to any particular thing, I will be referring what is the name. Okay, the name is defined as ARR, maybe the or whatever the variable name you're defining, ARR, and then you will be passing here the row index and the column index. कि मुझे कौन सा row चाहिए. Here I will be passing the row index, that yes, this is a row index I need, and also with the row index you will be passing the column index. ठीक है. तो for example, array of 3,2 will refer to this particular value, right? Array of 3,2 will actually refer to this particular value. तो पहले rows आएंगे. First they will come rows कि कौन से row में, and then they will come the columns part, right? So first I will have is rows. Okay, first I will choose the rows part कि row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3, इनमें से कौन सी row. And after I've really chosen a row, the second thing that I will choose is a column. Okay, कि इस particular row में कौन सा column. Okay, that is how I actually get the values of the column, right? First it will tell me the rows, कि row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3. Okay, after I've chosen the row, first will come row. Always first parameter will always be row. ठीक है, please don't get confused between rows and columns. That is something most people get confused with. Okay, rows ऐसे नीचे को row wise. ठीक है, columns are like pillars. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys relate to this. Columns are actually like pillars. ठीक है, तो pillars ऐसे vertical होते हैं. ठीक है, column means pillars, right? So columns are like pillars. So pillars ऐसे vertical होते हैं. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3 rows, row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3 and so on, right? And that is how you present it. Okay, so now let's try to print the matrix also. Take the user input. Okay, तो first I will be taking two parameters. पहले array case में I used to take one parameter, right? But in this case I will be taking the two parameters. The first parameter is rows. Okay, चाहे rows ले लो variable. And second parameter is the columns that you want to define, right? Columns equals to tell me the size of the matrix, right? Whatever the 2D matrix you are declaring, tell me the size of the matrix. The matrix will have two things. The first thing that it will have is rows. What are the number of rows? And the second thing the matrix will have is columns. Is particular matrix columns kitne hain? Like in the way we have declared 1D array, same 2D array declare karenge. Integer 2D array. The name of the array's matrix equals to new integer. Then you have the rows and you have the columns, right? The rows part and then you have the columns part, right? Lagging. Oh my god, what is happening? Go on, just a second. I think this is fine now, but ठीक है, got it, is changing the network. Not sure if it's lagging right now also, but yeah. Still yeah, it's all right now. I think it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, thank you. So we have defined the array. Okay, we have actually declared the array that yes, this is the array. Okay. So this is the array that I'm defining the matrix part, right? This is the 2D matrix, right? It's having two important components. The first important component is the row, and second important component is the columns, right? कि इस particular array में इतने rows हैं और इस particular array में इतने columns हैं, ठीक है? 2D matrix. User input कैसे जाएगा? 2D 2 for loop से. Row wise input लेंगे, integer I equals to 0, okay? And I must be less than equals to rows. Zero based indexing होती है इसमें, ठीक है? I plus plus, okay? For every row, I need to have for every column, ठीक है? Row wise मतलब पहले row में गए और उस row में then we are having for every column, right? First we went into the row. How am I taking the user input? Try to understand. पहले row 0 select करा मैंने, okay? I have actually tried to select row 0. That yes, I have selected this row 0. Right? I have selected this row 0. And inside this row 0, I am having more of like columns, right? Inside this row 0, I am having more of like columns. Column 0, column 1, column 2, column 3, and so on, right? Columns है मेरे पास row 0 में, right? कि इस particular row 0 में, what am I having? I am having is something called columns, right? What is the value of column 0, column 1, column 2, column 3, and so on, right? कि इस पर्टिकुलर रो में मुझे कुछ कॉलम्स चाहिए, राइट? या ठीक है, तो पहले मैंने इस पर्टिकुलर रो 0 चूज करी, ओके? सो दिस इज हाउ आई एम फिलिंग द वैल्यूज रो 0 में सारी. फॉर रो 0 फर्स्ट आई ट्राई टू फिल फॉर एवरी कॉलम, ओके? मतलब ऐसे ऐसे इनपुट भर रहे हैं. दिस इज हाउ एम आई एक्चुअली फिलिंग द मैट्रिक्स. देन रो विल गेट चेंज्ड, ठीक है? तो दिस इज हाउ आई एम टेकिंग द यूजर इनपुट, राइट? तो रो पहले एक रो सिलेक्ट करी, रो 0 has been selected, and inside this row I am trying to take for all the columns, right? Yes. Okay, so now let's try to do this. Okay, for inside every row I need to have the values for the column, right? For inside the row part, I need to have the column values. How will I be having the values? For integer j equals to 0, j must be less than the columns and j plus plus. So array of ij is equals to st dot next int, right? So array of ij is equivalent to st dot next int. कि मैंने हर रो एक रो चूज करी, and once I have really chosen that row, inside that row I am choosing for every column. ठीक है? Inside that row part, I am simply choosing for every column. That row 0 should have 5 columns. These are the 5 values. Row 1 is also having 5 columns. So these are the 5 values I am taking the user input. एक रो सेलेक्ट करते हैं, उसमें सारे वैल्यूज ऐसे धीरे धीरे बढ़ते जाते हैं. Like very logical way, right? It's almost very logical way while you are actually taking the inputs, right? Yeah. Sorry. So अगर आप matrix define कर रहे हो, तो this is matrix. Sorry. In case you're defining this matrix, so this will be matrix, right? This is the variable name. Matrix of I, ठीक है? This try to relate it very much to the array input, right? जैसे हमने array inputs करा था ना, but array was a single 1D array. That was single 1D array, right? Simple. Now this is a 2D array, right? And in case you have to print this array, same. Yeah. So in case you want to print this array, absolutely same process. But try to relate it little bit, okay? That for first I need to print for every row. I equals to 0 से लेके I must be less than rows tak, I plus plus. For every row, I need to go for columns, right? But I am having two important things is that, okay? For integer j equals to 0, j must be less than the columns and j plus plus. Then I am trying to print system dot out dot print, okay? Matrix of I comma j plus some space part, right? Okay. I am trying to print plus some space part, and then after I have printed that particular column, right? After I have really printed that particular column, मुझे एक उसको break भी देना पड़ेगा. I want the other column to be printed in the next line. Okay. I really want the other column, so I'll be printing this column system.out.println. Okay. That yes, this particular column is printed in the next line. Simple. Okay. Yeah. So first I'm asking what is the size. Maybe I want to ask a 3x4 matrix, right? Okay. Then it will ask me to enter the values of the matrix row wise. Try to understand. I'm repeating it. Okay. First it's asking me n. What are the number of rows? मेरे पास 3 rows हैं. And then in every row I have 4 values, right? In 3 rows I have 4 values. Then it is asking me to enter the values row wise. I'm entering the values row wise 1, 2, 3, 4. I can enter in this way also 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. ठीक है. 3 rows हैं, 3 rows, and in each row I have 4 values. ठीक है. तो मैंने enter कर दिया, and this is how it gets filled. Okay. Just try to understand this. Very important concept, guys. This is the main crux of the 2D matrix. Okay. There is nothing fancy in the 2D matrix, but yeah. So first I am taking the user input rows. Okay. I'm taking the number of rows. It is the number of rows. And with the number of rows, I am also taking the number of columns, right? कि 3 rows हैं and 4 column है. 3 rows, row 0, row 1, row 2. And in each row I have 4 values. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 rows. And then in each row you have 4 values, right? 4 columns. In 3 rows we have 4 columns, right? Simple. That is how you are actually defining the matrix, right? Right, okay. So once I'll try to print and enter here, once I try to print and enter here, you try to see that the matrix has been stored, okay. and the matrix has been again been printed, right? So actually कुछ हुआ नहीं खास. So I have entered these values. Okay, I have entered these values, and these values get stored in the matrix. Okay, these values actually get stored in the matrix. So these values get stored in the matrix. This is the values that are actually getting stored in the matrix. And since these values are part of the matrix, I am trying to print the matrix, right? I am trying to print the matrix, right? I am trying to print the matrix. Right? Yes, this is the matrix I am trying to print, right? बस उसी मैट्रिक्स को रो वाइज प्रिंट कर दिया. हाउ एम आई प्रिंटिंग द मैट्रिक्स? ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. पहले मैंने रोज प्रिंट करे. ओके, फर्स्ट आई हैव रियली ट्राई टू प्रिंट द रोज, राइट? फर्स्ट आई हैव ट्राई टू प्रिंट द रोज एंड रो 0 प्रिंट करा, रो 0, रो 1 प्रिंट करा, रो 2 प्रिंट करा, रो 3. उस रो में जो भी कॉलम वैल्यूज थे, this is a very standard way. Okay, this is a very standard way to print any matrix. Okay, this is a very standard way. Please try to understand this. A very standard way to print the matrix. Okay, okay. So पहले मैंने rows print करे, row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3, ऐसे ऐसे ऐसे. And then after the rows part, okay, what has happened? Something is wrong. Let's try to read on this. Okay, yeah. तो जब मैंने rows print कर लिए, in every row, I am trying to print the columns, right? Just try this once. I am creating a 2 cross 2 matrix, 2 cross 3 matrix, right? 2 rows and each value 3 1 6 4 1 7 and 2 3 1 2, right? 3 2 1. So I'll try to run this. Okay, and the matrix is being printed again, right? The matrix जो मैंने बनाया था that is being printed again. तो what I want to do, okay, तो मुझे अब मैट्रिक्स में क्या करना है? Okay, तो मे बी लेट्स हैव एन n क्रॉस m मैट्रिक्स, मतलब एक स्टैंडर्ड मैट्रिक्स लेंगे जिसके सेम डायमेंशंस होंगे. मुझे सम ऑफ डायगोनल निकालना है, ठीक है? मुझे सिर्फ एक डायगोनल निकालना है. ओके, दिस राइट साइड डायगोनल. सो आई एम हैविंग अ मैट्रिक्स. हाउ विल आई राइट द कोड? आई एम हैविंग अ मैट्रिक्स. दिस इज अ मैट्रिक्स. इट विल बी even cross even matrix, 4 cross 4, 5 cross 5, ऐसे symmetrical matrix, right? So it's a 4 cross 4 matrix अभी के लिए. Okay, in this 4 cross 4 matrix, I need to get the sum of this right diagonal. 1 2 3 4. What is the property that I need to have? Okay, I need to have a property of this. What property I will have? What property I will be having? What property I will be having? Right? Okay, what is the property that I'm actually having? That's the idea. मतलब क्या क्या प्रॉपर्टी करनी चाहिए? मतलब कुछ पैटर्न देख पा रहे हो आप इसमें? Anybody? Yes, I could see some 5 6 people able to, but I want more people to think on that. Is there any relation that you're able to see? Is there any relation that you are able to see that? If I'm not able to see, if I'm not able to understand, people 10 बार क्यों लिखते हैं मैसेज? Why? आपने एक बार आंसर देते, good. 10 times people write the same answer. मेरा answer, मेरा answer, मेरा answer. One time I've got it, good. Right? Yes, great, good guys. I could see a lot of answers, good, positive, right? Okay. So what is the relation that we can identify? Okay. The relation that we can identify that the property of the diagonal matrix, the right diagonal matrix, is that whatever the I is there, the same value j will be having. If I is 0, j will also be 0. If I is 1, j will also be 1, right? If I is 2, j is also 2, right? J is also 2. If I is 3, then j will also be 3. So this is the property that the matrix can have. This is the actual property the matrix can have. The rows and the column values are same, right? The rows, whatever the rows are there, rows and column values, जो भी rows और उनके column values हैं, they should be same. Rows and column values, they should be same part, right? That is the idea. right? This is the row, whatever the row values and the column values are there, they should exactly be same. That is the idea. तो अगर मुझे sum चाहिए, I want to actually find out the sum of this, right? What will I be having? Okay, let's try to write the code. देखो two loops will always be used. जैसे array में if you remember, okay, if in case you actually remember in the case of an array, in case of an array if you guys remember, we always used to have that one loop, right? That one loop was always there. Similarly in the 2D matrix, okay, always the two loops will always be there, okay. The two loops that we have decided they will always be there. This is just for printing the matrix. Size की नहीं जरूरत. तो जो दो loops हमने कही है, they will always be there. Okay, क्योंकि that is actually traversing the matrix. ठीक है? Like we have the array traversal, right? So the two loops, if you understand, two loops are actually traversing the matrix. Okay. Yeah, good, right? So for integer, this is a very standard way of traversing the matrix. Integer I equals to less than rows I plus plus, and similarly for integer j equals to 0, j must be less than the columns j plus plus. What is the condition, guys? The condition I need to have a sum, right? I'm maintaining a sum variable, and these sum variable should be outside both of the loops. This is a very important condition. Please try to note this down. This sum equals to 0 will be outside both of the loops, right? Outside both of the loops. Okay. Yes, जो भी sum variables हैं, they should actually be outside both of the loops, guys. ठीक है? Okay. So what is the condition? The condition is that if my I is equal to j, ठीक है? अगर row number is equal to the column number, that simply means that is a part of a diagonal matrix, right? That is a part of a diagonal matrix. I will add that value. Sum equals to sum plus, since it's a 2D matrix, how will I refer the value? Matrix of I comma j, right? I'm just simply adding that to the sum. Sum is equals to sum plus matrix of I comma j, right? Simple, right? You want the spaces, you can have the spaces. So if this I and j are actually matching, right? So if the row and column are matching, so I will have the sum equals to sum plus matrix of I comma j, right? All right. Okay. After this for loop, I will try to print the sum. The sum of the diagonals is equal to sum part, right? Okay, let's try running this. So let's have a 4 cross 4 matrix. Let's actually have a 4 cross 4 matrix. And the values are maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, right? So how will I be, what should be the sum? The sum should technically be, if I see this, the sum should be the sum of these values, right? The sum of these values, diagonal values, 0, 1, 6, and this, right? So मतलब 0, 0, this is starting from 0, 0, right? 0, 0 होगा, 1, 1 होगा, 2, 2 होगा, right? And 3, 3 होगा. So these are kind of the diagonals that we're adding. These are actually the diagonal values. Index wise. Index 0 is there, index 1 is there, index 2, index 3, etc. Right? So let's print the values. Right. The sum of the values is 34. And I hope the value is correct. It's 7 plus 11 is 18, right? 18 plus 16 is 34. Yes, it's working fine. It's correct. So it's correct, right? So that is how we actually get the sum of the diagonals. This right diagonal, okay. This is the right diagonal we're talking about. This is just talking about right diagonal. बस ये राइट डायगोनल की बात कर रहे हैं हम लोग. ओके, वी जस्ट फाइंडिंग आउट दिस राइट डायगोनल. हम लोग बस इस डायगोनल की बात कर रहे हैं, इस डायगोनल पे सम, whatever you call this now. Okay. Why matrix? Yes, 2D array is for creating matrices. Yes. All right. Output from 34. My answer. All right. Why matrix IJ in sum? I did not get your question, Prasad. My question समझा नहीं तुम्हारा. Matrix is just or not a data structure, but yes, it could be a way of data structure. Yes, you can think of it like a data structure. So it is a way to store the information, right? So all this, so suppose in case you want to store the 2D information, so matrix is actually a way to store the 2D information, right? अगर आपको 2D information store करनी है, then matrix is the way to store that 2D information, right? Okay. This is the coding. This is the code part, guys. Simple code. This is the code part. Can you guys think of how can I get the other diagonal also? अब मुझे sum of both the diagonals चाहिए, right? So we have just one second. I'll just show you the code part. Okay. Now I need sum of both of the diagonals. I've got of the left diagonal. I found out the way, but I need the sum of both of the diagonals. इस diagonal का sum तो मुझे चाहिए. How will I do that? Yeah, so I need to find out the sum of the left diagonal and the right diagonal, both diagonals. What is the property that I will? So left diagonal के लिए देखो हमने figure out कर लिया, right? For left diagonal we have figured out a property. Okay. Pattern banao pattern, right? Pattern making is I think one of the most important things in code building. Okay. Let's just see this. How would I have technically made a pattern? And no matter whatever the question comes of a matrix, okay, you just need to make that pattern. Right? That is what you need to make. So this is the important part. Right, okay. Just try to identify the pattern, okay? That's the most important part. 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 0, 3, 1, 3, 2, and 3, 3, right? So we have tried to figure out a pattern, right, of the left, this right diagonal. ये वाला diagonal का तो pattern हमने figure out कर लिया. We have tried to figure out the pattern, right? But what is the pattern that we need to have for the left, for this diagonal? इस diagonal का pattern हमने figure out कर लिया. What is the diagonal pattern? The diagonal pattern that we have is I is should be equal to j, right? So if the index I is equivalent to j, in that case we can say that yes, that particular matrix might be forming a part of the that right matrix. Yeah, right. Correct. Good, yeah, good guys. ठीक है. So we have identified that. Okay. दूसरे में आप एक अगर आप एक पैटर्न लाइज करोगे, if we are actualizing the pattern I could see is that I plus j is equal to 3, right? अगर I plus j is equal to 3, but actually we will not be writing it 3, okay? Because the variable matrix can be changed, right? The matrix can be of different size. अगर matrix 4 का है, had the matrix been of size 4, then this value was 3, right? But had this matrix been of 5, अगर ये matrix 5 का होता, right? Had this matrix been of 5 cross 5, right? right? Had this matrix been a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Had this matrix been a 5 cross 5, then this diagonal, okay, had this matrix been a 5 cross 5, then this value would have not been equal to 3. So what is the right thing to say? That I plus j is equivalent to n minus 1, right? I plus j is equivalent to n minus 1. If this is the case, that shows that's the left, this left diagonal, okay? Yes, right? This is just a pattern observation, right? Why I plus j is not, I don't have any answer to that. This pattern ke observation, this is just a pattern observation. If you try to see, you try to see for these values 3 0 2 1 1 2 0 3, right? So they are just having the pattern, a common pattern is there. The sum of the diagonals, and this is even a part of a mathematics, that key for the left diagonal we are having that I plus j is equal to a constant value, right? Yeah. So this is what we have done for the right diagonal, okay? Or maybe the right downwards diagonal, right down left diagonal, right? And left diagonal के लिए क्या करेंगे हम लोग? Multiple if statement, right? So I will be writing another if statement. So that is for the left down diagonal. Okay. That is if जो भी I plus j है, that is equivalent to, right? That is equivalent to n minus 1 or rows minus 1. Actually, the variable name is rows. Or a good idea is they generally people try to keep it n comma m also, right? N comma m is also very famous. Okay. So yeah. So in that case, I will also add to the sum, right? अगर left diagonal है तो left sum में भी add करें. Sum equals to sum plus matrix of I comma j. Now try to understand the general pattern, ठीक है? तो matrix की problems are not tough problems, okay? Matrix की problems are not tough problems. What you have to do, all you have to do is that, देखो, I'll just tell you a trick, एक shortcut बताता हूँ. ये वाली चीज तो कांस्टेंट रहती है हमेशा. Almost in all of the matrices, 90% of the matrices, these things remain same, right? Because they're just used for traversal part, right? They generally remain same. Why? They are same because they're used for the traversing part. They're used for the traversals, right? They are actually used for the traversals. Since they're used for the traversals part, so this part will remain same. I and j part will remain same. And since they actually remain same, okay, only thing that changes is in between content, right? This is the only thing that changes, right? This is the only thing that changes. तो ये बस आपको वो पैटर्न सोचना था. यू जस्ट नीड टू आइडेंटिफाई दैट पैटर्न, दैट व्हाट इज दैट, मतलब अंदर क्या होगा. एक जो जस्ट पैटर्न आइडेंटिफिकेशन होती है, द कोड इज नॉट वेरी डिफिकल्ट, ओके? Okay. Just say I'll give you one more example. Okay, just try to understand one more example. This is, there is something called transpose of a matrix also, right? There is something called the problem of transpose of a matrix. तो ये एक pattern observation है, guys. This is nothing. The second condition is just a pattern observation. एक second, just let me just see if everything is clear. Guys, यहाँ तक समझ आ रहा है ना? Any doubt so far? Guys, this is clear, right? This problem, yes, no? Class समझ आई आज की? Yes, no? कुछ? Yes, yes, right. Okay, positive, yes. Sounds good. Okay, positive. People are positive on this. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, captain. थोड़ा टफ तो लग रहा है. थोड़ा देखो, थोड़ा ऐसे लेवल बाय लेवल तो इंक्रीज होगा ही. डेफिनेटली थोड़ा लेवल इज, थोड़ा लेवल है, बट या थोड़ा सा आई अंडरस्टैंड, थोड़ा सा हाई स्टफ, हाई हाई स्टफ, हाई टफ. ओके. We will rock, definitely. Stuff. Okay. Um, So how many of you guys are, I mean, having that thing आजकल, that how many of you guys, आजकल तुम्हारे भी बारिश वारिश हो रही है? I mean, Bangalore is always raining, but how many of you guys are having the rainy मौसम आजकल? Good rainy seasons, heavy rains maybe, not heavy rains, but yeah. How many people from Mumbai? I've come to know Mumbai is really hard raining, all day night running. बहुत बारिश यहाँ मुंबई. All right, Trivandrum is raining. Dharawad, Mumbai, yeah, Mumbai. I mean, yeah, heavy rain from 3 days. It's warm in Delhi. All day rain. All day, all night rain. Mumbaikars. Raining in Rajasthan. Okay. Bangalore is normal. Yeah, Bangalore is normal. I'm in Bangalore, guys. In Bangalore, I mean, raining is very common. Nothing fancy in raining Bangalore. Yeah, in fact, I could have switched the chat box to everybody. Yeah, even I could people. Even it's only me communicating, but yeah. Okay. I think this room. You guys can shift it to everybody. Okay, you can communicate with everybody. I'm not sure if you guys can. Hi. बहुत लोगों सांस में सांस आ रहा है. Hush. Now feeling that blessed writing. The notes are present in. Okay. Uh, Seema, I'm not able to understand what is that WhatsApp link that you always kind of share with every time. I've seen that link. ऐसा क्या है उस link में? I'm really curious. Even I want to join that WhatsApp group. Why do you really share that? क्या कर रहे हो तुम उसमें? मतलब मैं जानना चाहता हूँ. It helps everyone with doubts, sir. Scam. अंदर की बात है. अनऑफिशियल ग्रुप पर स्टडी. पक्का उसमें स्टडी भी होती है? नहीं. It's like a small community. Okay. स्कैम करें. फेक है. बॉट है, बॉट. It's for study. Okay. Yes, sir. I believe in health. You believe in together up improvement, right? You believe in social helping types. This group is really makes sense. All right, all right. It says Sun Smith. Right, right, right. All right. देखो उस दिन स्वयं बताया तो था CTC 100 रुपीज, 100 रुपीज पर annum बताया तो था. देखो माना ही नहीं इस दिन. Told you. Yeah, even I am trying to join Acciojob from the next batch. Okay, even I am having the Acciojob batch, and yeah. Yeah, mock test was, I understand mock was a little tough. Okay, थोड़ा सा शायद थोड़ा सा है, but Okay. In hand salary is maybe 78 rupees. 90 rupees in hand salary. 90 rupees in hand salary. Okay, there's a CTC and there's the in hand salary. All right. Correct. ठीक है sir. किसी anybody having any other confusion? You want to also achieve this? All right. All right. Vishwanand, I am from Punjab, right? I'm from Batinda, Punjab. Okay. All right. Okay. That sounds good. And yeah. So maybe let's start with this. Okay. Let's start with this. And ठीक है, enough, enough. एक problem और करेंगे, guys. एक problem और करेंगे. We'll try one more problem. Okay. That was just you guys were so much bored. So we had some chit chat. थोड़ा बहुत एक problem और करके जाएंगे. नहीं नहीं एक problem करेंगे. We'll try to cover one problem. Okay. Small problem. Just one. Okay. That's a problem नहीं करते. Okay. Let's not cover the problem part. I'll just tell you something. Okay. I think I missed that part. Okay. So I think we have missed that how to take the scanner input for a string. Okay. Okay. So I have discussed how to take the scanner input. So we have discussed about, right? So that was the important part that was left. So in case I have to take an integer input, right? In case I have to take an integer input, this is how I was doing that. sc.nextInt, right? In case I have to take this, what's happening? Just one second. तो अगर मुझे integer input लेना था, I used to write this next integer, right? I had to get this double. I used to write this next double. Okay. Next double. But in case I have to, so this is for the integer, this is for the double, right? This is same for float. This is same for, so character and string are little different. Okay. Right. So character and string are little different. Okay. Characters and string are little different. Okay. So what happens in case of character? अगर character input लेना है या फिर पहले string input देख लेते हैं, right? That in case I have to actually take a string input, okay, what will happen if in case if I try to take a string input, right? In case I take a string input, okay, so there are two important things, right? In case I take a string input, right? So there are two ways in which I can take the string input, right? The first way in which I can take the string input is that keep my next line in, right? I can take the complete line. Okay, so there are two ways. Maybe so the first way is that maybe I take the Tushar Acciojob. Which one second is? Yeah. So first way I write this Tushar Acciojob, right? Tushar and space and Acciojob. So if I simply try to write next, okay, sc dot next, okay, sc dot next अगर मैं इनपुट ले लेता हूँ, so what will this sc dot next do? Sc dot next will try to take the next word. Okay, what will sc dot next do? Okay, sc dot next will try to do, will just try to take the word Tushar. Okay, it will just try to take the next word after this, before the space part. Before the space part, whatever the before the space part is there, it is trying to take that word. Anything that is part before the space, either जैसे या तो space, either space or a new line, right? Either space or a new line, right? So this is what that is being taken in the string input, right? Anything that is either in the space, okay, I mean that is in the word or in the new line, right? Either that is broken by a space or by a new line. Okay, this is what is having at an index. ये string से आएगा. I'll just show you with the help of an example. So back to this matrix. This matrix is enough. तो scanner class है अपने पास. Okay. From the scanner class, what am I having? This from the scanner class I'm having is that I take the input string s equals to sc dot next. ठीक है. ठीक है. String s1 equals to sc dot next. Just sc dot next. कुछ भी नहीं उसके बाद. Okay. Just sc dot next. So let's run this. Okay. So I'll try to print both of the values. System dot out dot println s plus some space, right, and plus some s1 also, right? Okay. Okay. So let's just run this. So we are having Tushar hyphen Acciojob, right? See. So you could see that, or maybe I try to print this. Okay. I try to print it a little better. Just 1 second. So this is the S part, SEA or S1EA, right? And this is S1. Now let's just write this. Okay. So ये बस normal जैसे I am taking two integers n को मैम the same way I could have taken two strings also, right? So the same way, just the way I used to take normal integers, right? I used to take n and k, right? I used to take n and m. Same way, right? Either by a space or by a new line. Okay. So this is the first word s. This is the first word s1, right? So first word is s and s1, right? So I have two words, right? So I have these two words. The first word that I'm having is s string s1, and the second word that I'm having is s1. So the word is string. Both of them are strings, right? The first word that is string, and this is also string. Simple, right? The normal way used to do always. Okay. There is this another property also, ठीक है? तो वो क्या कहते हैं? Okay. In case आपको जो भी चाहिए, right? Whatever you want in complete line. Okay. There is this another way of taking input. That whatever you write in complete line, you can get that also, right? The command for that is next line. Okay. Right. That whatever is written in that complete line, that complete thing I need to get, right? Now I now see this. Okay. If I write this Tushar Accio, okay, Tushar hyphen Accio. Now try to understand whatever, since this is a next line, ठीक है, तो जो भी इस line में लिखा हुआ है, whatever is actually written in this complete line, okay, yes. तो अगर दो plus words, जैसे जितने भी words हो सकते हैं, right? I could have written any number of lines, right? I could have written any number of words here, right? In this string, Tushar Accio is teaching. Tushar Accio, teacher, loves, right? Tushar loves, I mean, teaching, yeah. So something of that sort, right? Tushar Accio, Tushar loves teaching. Right? Right. So this is, maybe I want to add some more also. I can add this more also. Tushar loves teaching. Right. So this is a line. So anything that is actually coming, this complete line, okay, this complete line, this is the syntax that anything that is taken in that complete line, that is a part of the string, right? That is a part of the string. Yeah. So you could see that this complete string, this is the complete string. अब वो वही complete string है, right? It is the same complete string. Okay. Let's try to rerun this. मतलब the idea is that कि जो भी मैं इस पूरी line में लिखूंगा, whatever I write inside this complete line, even after space and even after multiple spaces, तो अगर मुझे space को भी include करना है as a part of string, then this complete thing, until I actually press and enter, right? Until I complete this line, इस line में जो भी लिखता रहूंगा मैं, this complete string will become s, right? You want to print the string s, you print the string s. Okay. That is just important thing. कि अगर आपको वर्ड बाय वर्ड लेना नॉर्मल, राइट, यू वांट टू टेक सिंपल वर्ड बाय वर्ड, in that case it's simply sc.next. Okay, sc.next. And in case you want to come, so that is just word by word, just like normal thing, right? This is something that you had this word by word like normal case, right? But in case you want to take a lot more, okay, so you will be having sc.next line. Okay, you will be having that sc.next line कि अगर मुझे नेक्स्ट पूरी लाइन इनपुट लेनी है, राइट, इंडिपेंडेंट, मतलब जब तक वो लाइन खत्म नहीं होती, until the point that line is not finished, I want to take that input. We will be using sc.next line. All right, that is a syntax part. Okay, just one quick question before we really leave. Okay, all right, so now just try to see the code important. Okay, very important code, and tell me the output part. Right? Scanner sc string s1 equals to sc.next string s2 equals to sc.next line and system.out.println. Okay, this is the um, statement. Can you tell me what will be S1 and what will be S2? Take proper time and tell me what is answer. Take proper time and tell me what is answer. This is the piece of the code that I've written. Right. Correct, right? Almost people are correct. Right? Almost everybody is correct. None of you guys have written all folks will rock. I could say everybody's written आगे का. ये क्या होता है भाई? ये क्या तरीका हुआ लिखने का? बस आगे का रेस्ट. आलस देख रहे हो? आलस लेवल. इतना आलसी ऑल फोक्स विल रॉक इन लाइफ भी नहीं लिख रहे. क्या कैसे चलेगी बात भाई? वेरी अनफेयर, वेरी बैड. सब लोग बस रेस्ट आगे का. ऐसे कैसे रॉक करोगे भाई? इतना आलस. None of you, very less people are actually completing that complete sentence. इतना आलस कैसे चलेगा? ठीक है, and that is about it. Everybody simply writing S1 is U and rest is S2. Just everybody simply writing S1 is U because S1 is simple and S2 is rest. ऐसे नहीं चलेगा भाई. राइट. कोविड के बहाने देने कर दो बंद तुम. कोविड खत्म हो गया अब. थिंक फॉर सम गुड एक्सक्यूज नाउ. राइट. टीचिंग इज A plus. ऑलराइट. Yes. Okay. Just one more line. Just one more line. And in case I want to take a character input. Okay, there is this way of taking the character input also. अगर character input को character input are technically not very used. Okay, character inputs are not very much useful, but yeah. Okay. So the way to take a character input is that. Okay, stop the code. Yeah. So the way to take the character input is that character C equals to sc dot next. Anybody knows how to take the character input? No. किसी को नहीं पता. next, it's not like next care. Okay. Good. People know this. Anish, not carrot. Good. People know this. Nice. तुम लोगों ने खुद से देखा है या कैसे कुछ फाइन पता लगा? So SC dot next मतलब जो word होता है ना, SC dot next and dot carrots, right? कि जो भी word लिया है उसका dot carrot zero, right? Yeah. Okay, this is just a syntax. Okay. Okay, this is just a way. Okay, honestly, this is nothing fancy. Okay, SC dot next is what? ठीक है. Character at zero मतलब कि उसका whatever is the character at zeroth index. Zero is telling the index. Technically, okay, this zero is telling the index, and SC dot next is taking the पूरे string. Okay, SC dot next actually takes a complete string और उसका zeroth character. This is like just a standard syntax. We'll discuss the syntax once we jump into the advanced batch. Okay, so once we jump into the main course. Okay, in the main course we'll try to understand this. We'll understand this more. Okay, I'm just telling you this once because by chance this might be asked in an interview, right? So how to take a character because this is somewhat different. Okay, the proper detailed thing we'll be discussing in the main course. Okay, there's a proper lot of detail to this. Okay, this is a complete strings. Okay, this we've discussed this important because there's a possibility in interviews. What all things will be asked in interview we'll try to discuss tomorrow. Okay, and yeah, we'll discuss all everything about the coding test and mock test tomorrow. All right, and not the coding test will not be tomorrow. No. All right, that's maybe enough. Guys, please tomorrow attend the proper. Try to attend doubt class also. Okay, because in doubt class I'll try to connect with Abhishek and we'll try to cover important questions in the doubt class. Okay, doubt class में कुछ important questions cover करवाएंगे. Please try to attend tomorrow's class and doubt class. Please try to attend both of them. Okay, it's really important. And yeah, all right. All right. Cool, guys. Thank you so much. Good night. Yes, you guys can drop off. Thank you so much. The class will start at 8 p.m. guys, normal. 8 p.m. 8 to 11, same timing. Thank you. Good night. Bye. No functions will not be a part of the syllabus, guys. No. But जितने क्लास में करवाए उतना ही आएगा, ठीक है, ज्यादा नहीं आएगा, चिंता मत करो. Thank you. Good night. Tomorrow there will be no more test notes. Good night. Thank you. Bye.